What's up, girls? Yeah, I got one of those. So are we recording right now? Yes, we are. It looks like Chris Goodwin is out there. Chris, I think, is helping us out, pressing buttons for us.
So thanks.
Yeah.
We're making our way.
I remember you. What's up? Tiffany? That's right. Oh, I met you last night. I remember. Now you're live on Pot TV. We're gonna go see Jody on a panel right now. She's giving a speech, and yeah, cool. So what booth you at, Tiffany?
At the Polkoa.
At Polkoa. That's right. We haven't been down Activist Alley yet with the live stream or even to take photos or anything. So
we're gonna walk around and hopefully show. I think you guys have seen a lot of it.
Oh, we showed a bunch. No. Yeah, we're gonna go around and really do it justice. You probably go that way, but
and the Normal Women's Alliance will be speaking in our presentation area.
Hey, Ron, what's up, man?
Kelly Coulter and the Normal Women's Alliance
for a while. I'll come and talk to you.
Forum law, and again, that is at 1 p.m. in our presentation area. Thank you.
There's Mama Kind.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? What's happening? Hello. What's happening? Yeah.
This is some of the ladies that are going to be on the.
That's right.
Women's panel.
The women's panel.
Exciting.
Yay! And this is they opened it all up now. That's nice.
Much better. This was all closed in with curtains before. I had envisioned it all open because last year this was an open rest area where you could sit and eat food. And our booth was over there. And so yesterday, seeing it all filled in was a little like, oh, that's not so good. Not everybody can see it. But they've opened it up so that way people passing by can get their attention grabbed and join in and watch.
Exactly. No, it's much better. And actually, that empty booth that is back there was our booth. And right next to the Polkoa Defense booth, actually.
And we got upgraded. We walk in, as some of you may not know. First day we come in, we're going on the escalator up, and we see Pot TV in a giant booth right at the front. So we're going, that's us. We didn't know we had a booth. And sure enough, we do, and that's where we've been broadcasting from.
From the front. It's awesome. I wonder if I should go and set this up somewhere. Are you guys going on soon, or what's the story?
I suppose. Should we go?
Yeah, my eyes get.
You have fun last night?
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Round 2 tonight?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think. Do you know about the Vapor Central party? Is that where you guys are going tonight? There's a big shaker at Vapor Central. It's like a sponsored party and everything. That's the one to go to tonight.
I don't know where we're going. There's supposed to be a bus or something going to it.
Oh, a bus.
I'm not sure.
I hadn't heard about that one. Oh, maybe are you sure that's not the Sunday night one at Vape on the Lake?
I just want to go see strippers.
Oh, nice. Oh well,
Yeah.
I think I'm going with you then. No, we'll be at Vapor Central tonight for sure, and that's going to be the big shaker party. Have you been to Vapor Central before?
Which one? Like on Yonge Street?
Yeah.
66?
That's right. Yeah, Young and Charles, I think it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like right down to the grass rail.
That's right. Exactly. She knows all the things plotted by where they are in location to strip clubs. I've been to the brass rail. It's awesome. Oh really? Oh, that's good. I guess that's why you want to go back there. Girls, strippers love girls.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna go dead.
Is it gonna go dead soon? We could bring the power plug over here.
The thing is at the front, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get far enough away from the stage that we're either not in the way or looking like.
Well, let's see what we can set up here.
Get the power cord either way.
Yeah. Okay.
You all make me nervous as hell, right? Standing there with the camera.
That's right. All these cameras. I'm gonna try and set this up somewhere. That's the idea I was gonna do here. Seems like a smart one. Whoa, that's not a bad idea at all. No, I think that should work. That's perfect, actually.
I can move up front even.
No, this should be even better. Higher the better, in my opinion.
Got a bit of an angle. I just corner there. I'm small.
Okay, well,
see what you got.
Oh, that is a bit of an angle.
Yeah, I'll move up.
Okay, yeah, we can even fit them both here.
I think I'll be out of the way.
Look, there's even more space here.
Yeah.
A good spot. I can make more space on this side too.
I think I got them all. That's what I want. It's not very.
I leave my purse.
Oh, why not? Nah.
This will help me. It's a little slippery. There, that's better.
Nice.
Let me get out of your way.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, that's better. Flatter. Yeah.
I like the idea that Cosmic Jest had in the chat there. You need to hire me to carry around a TV dinner table for you to put the laptop on.
Oh, okay.
That's a good idea. You're hired, buddy.
Ingenuity, man.
That's right.
You need to make it work. You'll find a way.
Now, if we have a place where we can plug this in, we do. Perfect.
You're golden.
Yeah, we got a spot.
You're streaming live, right?
We're streaming live right now.
Good afternoon. The Normal Women's Alliance will be speaking in our presentation area.
Did you get power there?
Sandra Kolonowski,
Yeah, he's got it.
Lisa Kirkman, Joanne Baker, Kelly Coulter, and Loretta Clark will be discussing reform law. And again, that is in our presentation area momentarily. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect plug right there.
Perfect. No battery issues, no nothing.
Golden? Looks like I'm okay.
Everything's good. You good?
Yeah, I'm fairly level.
You're going to support things.
Right on.
So good. You should see our day. Oh, wow. Tonight. Maybe. When in Rome. Yeah.
I don't have a card, but I got that's the contact. Are you guys live streaming?
Yeah, he's live streaming. That's Cannabis Culture.
Oh, this is your
Jeremiah, yeah. Cody Jeremiah. That's my little jobby there, you betcha.
You're from Normal. Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not. I just dress like a lawyer sometimes. What's that?
Monopod or a tripod to make it like a monopod. You won't get any shaking of the camera. It won't put any stress on your wrists or your hands.
Yeah, I've got one, but we didn't bring it. It's sitting at home, back in Calgary, so.
Get the cheap little tiny one. Then you can just put it on, prop it on whatever.
Oh, the little straight ones, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little rod, like. Oh, there's also those small tripods.
Still picture will look way more professional.
Yeah. Instead of holding and jiggling.
I'm doing the same thing. I normally have one, but you can see a little bit of shake.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Totally agreed, man. But yeah, there's the little ones like you say. I usually got the large one. I had it here last year, but.
Is that HT?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an older one though. I can't even get batteries for it anymore. It's getting old.
You order them? Yeah, they're really cheap online.
Yeah, I can't get them locally, so yeah, you're probably right. Is online is what I'm gonna have to do.
We're gonna get a spot where I won't interfere with your camera.
How about this corner? Can you get in this corner, like? You're gonna sit there?
I'll get you lots of views.
You're gonna sit there? I tried to set mine on there, but it was.
It would be perfect.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Well, that's where I was.
Testing.
We're gonna have to move this a bit.
Like a live stream with a phone.
No, we haven't. They didn't have a very good app before, but they might now. Yeah, I heard that there's a new app. Before you had to use the kick or quick.
Oh, you are gonna go that way?
Yeah, because there's two up front. That's okay though.
I'm not in your way, am I there?
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, the more coverage we get of that, the better.
Yeah.
Especially on live stream, that's great.
Yeah. Sure.
That's how it works. Makes sense.
Oh yeah. See this here.
The CBC is across the street.
Set it up here. I don't know what you think.
You're not going to get the stage at all. I mean, you're not going to get the speaking at all.
Oh, it's because they're going to go up in front of them. It's a panel though. I don't think anybody's going up to the mic, are they?
I thought they were one person. I don't know. You probably don't know more than me.
Yeah. Well, I think the way a panel works is usually they just sit and talk.
Can everyone hear me okay? Excellent.
We'll see how it goes.
Hi, my name is Andrea Matrosovs, and I'm from rural Ontario, and I am here with the pleasure of introducing you to a lovely panel of women who all come from the same Normal Women's Alliance of Canada. We're all here for different reasons, but we all believe in the same cause. We're all on a mission to end prohibition here in Canada. In the 1930s, it was women's collectives that ended up ending the prohibition laws against alcohol, and we believe that we can do the same thing for cannabis here in Canada. So we're all from across the country. We have socially and culturally diverse backgrounds. We all have our own personal reasons for believing in this cause. And as we've been speaking to many of you this morning at our booth, we believe that the stronger we get, the more voices we have, the more we can say and the more impact we can create. We have that one mandate together to end prohibition, the end prohibition of cannabis here in Canada. We are a non-partisan group. We are active not just in Ottawa, working with politicians, but right across the country. We have in-person meetings together, and we also have an excellent online community too. So anyone, no matter where they are in Canada, can be involved. Now we're a young group. We're still growing. Our sister group, the Normal Women's Alliance down in the United States, is quite large. They've been at it for some time. We are a young group, but we have our boots on the ground. We are already active and we're already visible. I'd like to introduce you, just first of all, to the ladies that we have here. As I mentioned, they come right from across the country, so I'm going to actually introduce them geographically as well. And then I'm going to launch one question for them to all give their personal answers to. Then there'll be lots of time for us to have a dialogue with questions and answers that you might have. So first of all, on our far side over here, Loretta, can you wave? Hi, Loretta. Nice to be here. We have Loretta Clark, who's from Montreal. Beside her, we have Kelly Coulter, who's from Ottawa. We have Joanne Baker from Toronto. We have Lisa Kirkman-Monakind from Calgary. And we have Jody Emery next from Vancouver. And we have Sandra Colasanti from Vancouver as well. So we're going to start in that order, and I'm going to pose the question. Thinking about their own personal reasons, I'm going to ask each of these ladies to explain why they're part of the Alliance and why is it important for women to join the collective voice of the Alliance. So Loretta, would you please start us off with that?
Well, thank you. Is this microphone working? Yes? Okay, thank you. I came to Montreal 5 years ago from Toronto, and my cannabis activism actually grew out of HIV/AIDS work and being part of the queer movement at the time. So I was lucky enough to actually be at some of those very early meetings at the 519 in Toronto that actually came to bring MAR into fruition. And since then, and since being in Quebec in particular in the last 5 years, when I first started talking about the MMAR, many people had no idea what it was, and certainly you know, many were about to find out how bad it would be for them when they went to their doctors. Many had already told me that I had, you know, the opportunity I had in Montreal was to work in a head shop, so it was from there that I started talking about MMAR primarily to, you know, to foresee that something like Bill C-10 was coming, and that it would be, you know, having devastating consequences, especially for young people. That the, you know, that the way to make it safer and to change some of the dynamics was to get as many in MMA as possible. And in Quebec, that was a big challenge. You know, we've seen, like, you know, a lot of chaos with situations with doctors. People had to leave Quebec in the hundreds to get signed. People had terrible stories. People with cancer, people with HIV, which is how this program even started, would be denied MMAR. And so this, you know, this fight is something that's been going on for me for a long time. And now, you know, being here, I'm really at the place now where I don't want to have the decriminalization conversation anymore, because I've been there for a decade and it sucks. And we're not going back. It's legalization, and that's it, that's all. And women are key. We're key as healers. I saw this on the in the HIV/AIDS world. And there's a lot of healing that has to be done. And we have to do it with harm reduction, community-based frameworks. That's what I learned from HIV/AIDS, and that's what we've got to do here. And women always had a special gift in this regard, in this process. So I'll pass it on to the Superwoman.
Thank you very much. So that was Loretta Clark from Montreal, and we're now going to move on to Kelly Coulter from Ottawa.
Thank you. I'm from Ottawa area, and I became involved with Normal in regards to Bill C-10. C-10 was highly offensive to me, mandatory minimums. I worked as a paralegal in the United States for many years, and I saw the damage that mandatory minimums did there. So it just didn't make any sense to me. Became involved with Normal, not so much, I'm not a cannabis consumer at all, so I find myself in strange places sometimes. But I've learned so much in the past year, and I've also learned that women in the movement are truly the most exceptional group of women I've come across in a very long time. I'm just so impressed by these ladies. So the Women's Alliance is actually a sisterhood of all of us from across the country. The more women that we can embrace and bring to this table, I truly think that we can make the change that needs to happen in Canada and around the world. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelly. We're now going to move on to Joanne Baker, also from Ontario, from Toronto.
Thanks. And thank everybody for coming and watching, because we got a voice to talk, and I appreciate your input too, just by being here. I've been in activism and in the pot industry for a long time, and before that I was in the bar industry. So really I entered it from the we'll say recreational side of it, but along the way I met all these people, and a lot of women, because it just happens to be how women group together. We go do our makeup together in the bathroom, and next thing you know we get talking. And I just noticed the last few years that there's a lot of women who are suddenly finding the courage to speak, to voice their opinions, but they're finding that some of the forums and the platforms available to them might be a bit intimidating. Some of the people don't even smoke weed. You know, I have family members that are big proponents, and they're like, oh, you stink all the time, but they totally vote and help. So those people count, and I see the Women's Alliance as a way to create a platform for people that don't actually just party all day with us and or consume medicine all day with us. And in the end, I'd like to see a lot of those normal women, those people who are out there coming forward and speaking and being in areas where they're in groups like that. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Joanna. We're now going to move across the country a little, and we're going to go to Lisa Malakai from Calgary.
Hi there. I've been touched by the drug war, and
in many, many different ways. As an editor of a cannabis magazine, of course, I see globally what happens to women and their families touched by the drug war. I personally took me a long time to get my own license, and of course, I sent my son down to the States. He was taken by the U.S. and they basically said that because you write about pot and because you are a cannabis consumer, even though I have a legal license up here, I was a bad parent. And so I fought for 2 years to get it back, and I got it back. And so that's another way. I mean, I've been personally touched by the drug war in so many different ways, so I have to figure that there's so many different people out there with so many different experiences that there are numerous ways to come at ending prohibition. But one through line I've seen in different countries and in different experiences of prohibition is it's that the women have been key. Women have been key in starting prohibition, unfortunately, in most of our countries, actually, but that's the power that we have. And because we've also been key in ending it, in whether it's alcohol or whatever it is. So we need to harness that power for good and not evil. And I think, whether we don't need to question it too much and just know that we do have that power as women. So we need to figure out the 1,000 different ways, or the million different ways to approach this enormous issue, and accept that we all have an acceptable way of approaching it. And I'm looking forward to standing with you to do that.
Thank you very much, Lisa. We're now going to go to our far west coast, and we're going to continue with Jody Emery.
I'm going to stand because I speak better when I stand tall and feel the message rushing through me. I'm Jody Emery, and the question here was, what personal experience has led you to realize that marijuana prohibition needs to end? And many of you here know of my husband, Mark Emery. Mark Emery is the Prince of Pot. He's an activist who is in prison in the United States for financing the marijuana movement, for making books and magazines about marijuana legal, for bringing bongs and pipes and marijuana paraphernalia into Canada when it wasn't available. Mark Emery sold seeds and financed this movement in an amazing way that we have a fantastic event like the Treating Yourself Expo to not only educate people about medical marijuana, but to let them know that the drug war hurts people every single day. My husband was extradited into the United States of America, where he got a 5-year sentence for selling seeds to overthrow the government, to plant the seeds of freedom, and he spent millions of dollars helping sick and dying people, helping people sue the government, helping them defend themselves in court, helping give them a voice in this fight where we are so oppressed. And as a woman, many women suffer in this drug war. Men go to prison a lot more than women do in this drug war, and that's a shame because those are fathers and sons and brothers and grandparents even who are taken away from their families when they've never hurt anyone else. And mothers lose their husbands, they lose their sons, sisters lose their brothers. People go to prison every single day and families are destroyed. This government and prohibition which they enforce with more strength, more violence, every single year, more arrests, are destroying communities every single day. My husband never hurt anyone, and neither did the millions of other Canadians and Americans and people worldwide who use cannabis, grow cannabis, heal themselves, save their own lives with this amazing plant, and they are persecuted for it. And as a wife who has lost my husband to this drug war, I know the harm. I visit him and I see the children, the little tiny babies who try and run away from their dad because they don't know who he is. They're kept from him because he's in prison, and they'll grow up without a father. They'll grow up without that nurturing influence, and they may get more involved in crime. In fact, statistics show that the more you put people in prison, the more their children will have a chance of going to prison themselves. This is a destructive cycle. And I see some children who know who their daddy is, and when they visit him in prison, they go running up to him, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," because they don't get to see their dad. Their dad is lost like an animal. And this drug war makes me angry. Lives are destroyed every single day for children, for mothers, for families everywhere. So while we celebrate some of our freedoms, like here at the Expo, where we are so lucky to have a place to speak about this, to educate, medicate, and work to end prohibition, we have to remember that for every one of you here, there are thousands of people in prison because of marijuana prohibition. So that's what we're here for, and if I'm angry, there's a goddamn good reason why. Because families are destroyed by this government. People who don't hurt others should never be hurt by the government. So you here today are responsible. You're free. You're not in a cage, not yet. So your responsibility to every person in prison, including my husband, Mark Emery, and the millions of others around the world persecuted every day, is to take this message. Write a letter to your member of parliament. Write a member to your MLA or MPP. Call a radio station. Talk to your friends. Hold a coffee class. Get out on the streets. Hold up a sign. It doesn't take a lot of effort. You're standing here now. Get out in the streets. Bring attention to this issue. That lives are destroyed every day. And marijuana needs to end now. Thank you so much. This is the Normal Women's Alliance online. Go to treatingyourselfexpo.com. Do something every day to end this war before you are locked up. You do it! You do it!
Thank you very much, Jody. We're going to have one more speaker. We've got Sandra also from Vancouver, and then we're going to have a chance to open it up for questions that you might have for questions for anybody that's here on the panel. So, Sandra, every story is unique, everything is individual, all of our voices are important, go for it. Okay. Is this working still? Okay. It's pretty hard to beat that, folks, right? I don't think I'm even going to try. So I just want to acknowledge all the ladies here. I'm sure she's going to do the same thing, but I'm here for the same reason. We've all been touched by this whole nightmare that we're all living. So let's end it, and we got to work all it together. And this is the way we're going to do it. And there's no issue of men can't join, because you can all support us and help us out and work this, get us through this, and let's end this for our children, and so they don't have to grow up with the crap we've all gone through. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So that is our panel speakers there, and as I mentioned at the beginning, my name is Andrea Matrosovs. I'm not too far away from here. I live about 2 hours north in rural Ontario. Like Kelly had mentioned, I'm actually not a user, I'm not a grower, but I actually believe that these prohibition laws in Canada are wrong, they're hypocritical, they go against what we in Canada are willing to accept in terms of alcohol and tobacco, but on the other hand, for some reason, not for some reason, but because of the history of our prohibition laws, we're still faced with cannabis being prohibited here in Canada. So that's why I'm an advocate. That's why I belong to this alliance of these incredible women. Each one of us has a completely individual story. I'm just finishing a graduate degree in community studies, and I believe that this is how we actually change governments. This is how we actually change things in a country when we see that there is something wrong. We collect our voice together, we act, we are active, we are, as I mentioned, we are a group that has our boots on the ground, we are meeting with MPs, we are trying to change things, we're meeting in person in chapters across Canada, but we're also reaching out with our online community as well. So any woman can be involved in our Women's Alliance. The Women's Alliance in the United States has been operating for years. They're a huge voice. They're able to actually make a emotion because they have so many people for whom they're speaking. So we are a young organization, but we are an empowered one, as you can hear from all of these lovely ladies here. There are a million different reasons why, but we all stand behind the same cause. So next what we'll do is we'll open it up to some questions that may have come from the floor. We hope that somebody will help us get started here. And if you're interested, you can ask a specific person if there's something they said that touched you, that you'd like some further information about. Please direct it specifically to that person. I'll hand the mic to that person. If it's a general question, we'll find somebody on the panel that can appropriately answer your questions for you. So is there anyone who would like to start? Because we do have assistants right down here. We've got a mic that can be brought to you if you'd like to ask a question. Excellent, thank you for starting the ball rolling. And please, by all means, if you like, please introduce who you are, where you're from, and then ask your question.
My name is Virginia, and actually my question is where to find a doctor that can sign my forms. Right, currently I am fighting a case with the current attorney because I was stopped at a right program, and basically the smell, they were based on smell, and the boyfriend I had at the time pointed the finger at me and said it was my marijuana, so I got charged with possession of 19 grams. Currently, I've been fighting this case. I am a mother of 6 children, that includes triplets. I look up to my grandmother. I've had 6 surgeries in the past 3 years. I've had many issues and been on many different medications. And this is about the only thing that can make me, enables me to cope on my everyday life without having to feel, how can I say, I'm looking for the word now. Without feeling drowsy, tired all the time, sleepy, I'm actually able to function properly and look after my family. And it's really an injustice that the government treats me as a criminal because I choose to treat myself with organics versus pharmaceuticals. It doesn't make sense to me why Health Canada gives each doctor a difficult time with forms. Apparently this is the reason why they do not sign. Well, it does make sense. Apparently for every prescription there is, they get 3%, and for every marijuana signature they get harassed. So how in the world am I supposed to find a doctor that will be considerate and sympathetic to my illness is my question.
Okay, thank you. So, could I have a volunteer who would like to take that on? I see a hand there.
I want to point out that the good thing about expos like this, they are geared toward medical consumers, and I believe that there might be booths here that are that there is a doctor here, or you can go and MCRCI, I'm sorry, that has a doctor there. So first of all, look into that. But I want to speak towards how difficult it is to get a card, especially when you are a mother. I want to point out that it might be even more difficult. Because especially if there's one of the reasons why, you're saying that being mother of 6, it helps you be a better mother. It helps you get on with your day and do what you do, no matter what your issues happen to be. I have physical issues that I take it for. That was, but it sounded expensive. I can tell you that, heaven forbid, you want to use cannabis for mental health reasons. One of the most basic reasons why anybody would use cannabis is to make themselves feel better. And heaven forbid that you actually even go to a doctor. We have problems in Canada with taboos around mental health, first of all. Then we have issues around, if you have, heaven forbid you have any family court issues, that you have an ex or something like that. So you don't want to go to your doctor and talk about that to begin with. If you have problems with social services, you don't want to talk about the fact that you might have a mental health issue, because that might say that you're a bad parent. because automatically if you have a mental health issue, you have bad parents. So you're already put at a deficit of not even, forget going to your doctor and talking about, you know, I want to get off these antidepressants and try cannabis because it works for me. Because you can't even go to your doctor and say, I need antidepressants. So I feel for any mothers that go out there, again, if you need, it doesn't matter if you need it for multiple sclerosis. If you have a custody issue with your ex, you don't want to even bring up the fact that you use cannabis, even legally, even if you have a card, becomes an issue in that custody phase. So women are shut up again. Our families are used against us, and our children are used against us. I started a compassion club, and I ran it for a year, and it got raided, and I tried to start up again, and my daughter was 9 weeks old at the time, because I ran it when I was pregnant the whole time too. I think it gave me more fire. What they did was they came there and they said, they didn't say we're going to shut you down again, we're going to put you in jail. They said we're going to take your children. That's what the cops came and said. They don't do that as, I'm going to venture that they don't do that as often. They usually, with guys, they say, we're going to take away your ability to support your family. We're going to put you in jail so you can't support your family, so your partner is left on their own, unable to support your kids. And then they're going to have to rely on social services. And then they get in that loop of relying on social services, so then the protective side of social services get involved. And so we get on that whole loop. So there are so many issues against, I think, women in particular, in getting help in using cannabis as a therapy, that we need outside support of men as well, obviously, to turn that around and maybe even focus special attention on it. It's not just that we all need to get our licenses. Yes, absolutely, we all need to get our licenses. We all need access to cannabis, period. Medical, not medical. We'll solve the medical issue if we just legalize cannabis, period, for every use, any use, right? So that takes care of that. But I think even special attention needs to be focused on supporting women in seeking cannabis as therapy, seeking it for their children. That's a whole other issue right there. Cannabis for pediatrics, cannabis for your children. Oh my gosh, how hard is it when you know that there's one medicine out there that you know, at the very least, if it doesn't help, won't hurt your child. But if you even bring it up to your doctor, they might report you to social services, and you might get that kid taken away. So, and trust me, I'm not being paranoid on this. I've experienced this all over the place. So it's such a huge issue that I think special attention needs to be focused on supporting women in the movement as activists, but also just as women, as in our day-to-day lives, so we can be stronger, and then we can do what we do to help end prohibition.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that answer. And Kelly's just reminding us too, please, by all means, after our panel discussion, come visit us at our booth. We are just down this way, or we're not far from the stage over here, and we can have a further conversation. One of my backgrounds is as a former high school teacher, and certainly what Lisa was talking about certainly resonates. It was so frustrating to me here in Ontario to see our youth and our young adults being funneled into making decisions to use alcohol and tobacco by the time they hit age 19, and not being allowed to make their own personal choices about using organics for whatever they happen to particularly need it for. So it was really frustrating to see that, which is another reason why I am part of all these incredible women here, part of our Women's Alliance. So thank you very much for your question.
I just wanted to add that the reason why I believe I had 3 healthy triplets I brought them to full term was because of marijuana, and more study needs to be done to help a lot more women like myself.
Excellent, thank you. We look so forward to welcoming you to the Alliance. Please make sure you come and have a chat with us over at the table. Do we have another question from out on the floor? We would love another question out from the floor. Thank you very much, John.
What do these green things mean?
Excellent question. Excellent question. I was going to make sure that we didn't lose focus of our green buttons because I see all of our women here sporting them. Thank you for asking. We are wearing these buttons because it is a collective symbol and it is a conversation starter. There isn't any particular logo on it. There's no political party on it. This is just simply something that says that we all stand for the same thing. So when somebody asks me, they say, what's that green square you're wearing? I say it's because I believe in ending prohibition against cannabis here in Canada. And now I've started the conversation and we take it from there. So thank you for asking.
There is, of course, a reason for me asking, and that is because you can see I'm wearing one. And as I've been walking around, two people came up to me and asked me what it meant. And they thought it meant opposition to the red in Quebec instead of something different. And so there's this potential for a mixed message. And so I just mentioned it. One of them was Dana from over at the End Prohibition booth, and then just another person as I was walking around. So maybe we need to put a plant on it or something so they get the message and don't think the opposite. Well, that's the point I picked up walking around.
And unfortunately, I believe, we might have to wear our green squares a lot longer than the red squares are being worn. Because we have to be resolved that we will keep wearing these until we can end prohibition in Canada. And when we end prohibition in Canada, we get to take these green squares off.
No. I've been around for 40 years on this thing. You're telling me it's not going to happen in the next few years?
Thanks, John. First of all, let me just, you know what? We handed out the green felt squares at the Global Marijuana March before they started wearing the green squares in Montreal. So when they started wearing the green squares, I'm like, oh, so they're all for ending cannabis prohibition too. But that wasn't what it was. So anyways, Lisa had a good point, because we did talk about the green squares that were happening in Quebec. I think it'll work for us in the long haul. I think that when Andrea and I talked about it, that opposition, and the red squares won. But that opposition to the Students' March, that won't be going on for years and years like what it is.
I was just going to say that I thought about that too, but I think also the red and green square thing is actually much more in Montreal, and you know, a little bit it's going across the country. People kind of know about it, but to tell you the truth, sitting in Calgary, now I am sitting in the toilet bowl of conservatism, quite literally. But I think outside of Montreal, definitely outside of Quebec, definitely outside of the East, I hate to say it, people don't really know the red-green square thing is doesn't have that impact. I knew about the red square. I didn't know about the opposition with the green square until I got here, and that's the thing. And I have a feeling that if and when that gets resolved, and the red square, green thing, the square thing in Montreal that dies down, I think the green square can probably continue on, and most people will have not even known about the red and greens and the star belly sneeches and whatever.
Thank you. And John, yes, you know what? I hope that we're not looking at decades of wearing these green squares. I feel that we are getting closer to making some sort of change. I'm looking at that next federal election. As we mentioned, we are a nonpartisan party. We are a nonpartisan women's alliance. We are representing every single background you can think of right across Canada. My background is as a former Liberal party candidate. And I'm really proud to see the kind of changes that my own party has been making. I was there in Ottawa in January when the resolution was passed that we believe in our party that we should make it part of the platform that we should be ending prohibition against cannabis. And I will speak very highly of my colleagues over here that you'll find over here from the NDP who are also working towards it. It doesn't matter what party we're from. The thing is that we all believe in the same goal, that we need to end prohibition. So I hope we will not be at it as long as you have been devoted to the cause. Do we have another question here? Thank you very much. Gentleman in the lovely green shirt.
Yes, hi, my name is Rodian, and I just wanted to ask, do you guys think there's more acceleration right now in getting cannabis legalized than it was like 10 years ago, or there's more progress, and like, can you tell more about it?
Okay, so looking for more progress? Here's an answer right here.
I think it's fair to say that we've had a huge amount of progress in the last decade. There are far more medical marijuana license holders. There's a lot more awareness. You can't go one day without a marijuana news alert on Google if you've got it. So it's definitely a lot of progress, but we also know there's a lot of fighting back from the other side. We've got the mandatory minimums, Bill C-10, passed into law. We're going to see a lot worse happen in Canada over the years to come, including the prison industry and a lot of other things. But when you look to the United States, where the drug war is probably at its worst still, Obama's continuing the rage, you also see states like Washington and Colorado and Oregon, they've got legalization initiatives on their ballots, even being supported by mainstream straight people, including my husband's own prosecutor backing legalization in Washington State. So there's huge amounts of progress, as well as huge amounts of regression, I suppose, by the government. So even though some parts are worse, a lot is a lot better. And I think all through mankind's history, you're going to see the same sort of thing. We gain a lot of ground, we lose some. It's not a war we're ever going to win in the end, where it never happens again. It's going to be something we'll always be fighting for. And as I say, if we're on a path to victory and we don't make it to the end of the road, at least we've laid our bricks to help others get there at some point.
For those of us who heard, like, first of all, I think Trudeau in the 70s said it should be legalized, and then Gretchen. I mean, it seems like I can't believe we aren't there yet. But on the other hand, one of the benefits, I think, of trying to get as many people like in the MMAR program was to start normalizing toking on the streets more and more. And because we know, it's hard not to notice us. We smell so good. And for some of us, we get into, we have to force that green conversation big time on the spot. We never know what we're going to face. We face police at times, but we notice over the last few years things are changing. The more that people medicate on the street and whatever, the dynamics are definitely changing. We are forced to talk to police more about it, show our pink papers, so it's all good, but I think that what, especially with what Jody said earlier, it's very important we identify with prisoners. 1 in 3 prisoners has a mental health issue, probably uses cannabis, could be in prison likely for it, doesn't matter. Like, it's time, just because they get taken away and most of us don't see most of them, we have to identify, because also we know that the opposition has gotten slicker with their propaganda and their lies, and they use the mental health issue, and they use that against us because we're weak and vulnerable on it, and women, we're not. We're the fucking experts on it. So we have to like have some good strategies to nail that one, because they are using it against us, and we can't let them. And we got to help all those prisoners who are there because of cannabis, and we got to help them get their meds, and we got to reform it and change it all.
I just want to point out that after 15 years of being more on the recreational side of things, the one thing I've noticed is a very strong emergence of people, I call them weekend tokers, or even Christmas tokers. People who just come out once in a while, and they're like, hey, who's out in the patio? And it's like, oh, my uncles, people that are friends of friends of friends. I'm noticing that they're not afraid to admit that they oh, well, I don't smoke much, but Christmas, you know, it's good. And those are a high percentage more of women. I think that men are kind of a little bit more all or nothing, and women are a little bit, well, do I have to do it every day, or can I just do it on the weekend, or can I just eat a little bit, or oh, what's that vaporizer? So that is a very huge population, and I think the clientele that I serve, I'm in a middle class neighborhood, and everybody's got jobs, and they're 5 o'clock, run home and get papers. It's about 5 to 7 is the only busy time I have in the day, as they're double parking out front to grab. So I might be a bit privy to seeing that a bit more than, say, other head shops and other clubs and things, and also in neighborhoods. But I do want to remind the people that when you do see someone who's just there and talking about it a little bit, remind them that weekend tokers and Christmas tokers count too. Probably that voter population might exceed a lot more than our little like noisemakers here. So that's a huge emergence I've noticed, especially like in the 60s when the hippies were doing it. It was like hippies, normal people. And that's not it anymore, so I have noticed that.
In answer to the question, are we closer? I think that was, now there was a study done statistically, cannabis prohibition will be ended in the year 2021. Now that's according to statistics based on demographics. So, I mean, we know it's going to happen, right? It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So, 2012. So, I mean, I guess, you know, we just have to keep the momentum going and keep the conversation going. And a part of the reason for the squares is you can choose whether or not to have that conversation. That's why there is no branding on it. That's why there is no pot leaf on it, because it's an opportunity to either engage someone or to not engage them. Who you're talking to. Not everybody wants to talk about that with just anybody.
Thank you. And now, you know, one of the events that the Women's Alliance was just recently at is that we are the Grand Marshals of the Toronto Global Marijuana March. And there, I think, is a good example to add to the illustration, too, because for the first time, there wasn't going to be the Freedom Festival at the same time as the March. And as I mentioned, I live 2 hours north of Toronto. A collective of young people I was talking to, they're thinking, oh, should we still go? Because it's just going to be the march. And that's when I said, yes, absolutely, more than ever, you need to show up to this march this year to say it's not about this festival, it's about the message we're trying to get out. And those numbers were strong. We were at the front of the parade. A number of us were dressed in 1920s and 30s attire with nice 1930s gangster car going behind us to illustrate the point that it was women who were able to contribute to changing the 1930s prohibition laws against alcohol, and that's what we're out to do. So it was really important to see thousands, tens of thousands of people marching behind us because, as Joanne mentioned, it's becoming more and more of a normal conversation. So do we have any other questions? We're coming up to our closure time because we've only got until 2 o'clock, so any final questions would be awesome. But we are available at our booth, and you know what would really make us happy is if we sold out on our bag of green squares today. So if you haven't yet picked any up or got some, excellent, I see a few of them waving. You see where there's already a collective. We see the squares, we know we're on the same side. So if you could please encourage people to head over to our booth, find out more about the Women's Alliance. We have an awesome Facebook collective that's going on, so it doesn't matter who you might know that might want to be involved. It's possible to stay connected with our organization. Any further questions?
I have a question.
We've got a question over here.
Hi, ladies. I'm Jeremiah from Cannabis Culture Magazine, the editor, and actually something recently has come up in some of our work that we've been doing, and it's the issue of sexism in the marijuana movement. Now, so I'm wondering what you ladies think. Is there more or less sexism in the pot movement than many of the other sort of activist movements out there, or maybe because we have our own media organs, those kinds of things? I know it's a tough one, but is there sexism in the pot movement, and are the criticisms fair that there is this happening?
Thank you very much for the question. Can I have a volunteer for answer? all want to answer that question, so they're just going to pass the mic along. But that's a tough question. I could say yes, and I could say no. I could say yes as a woman. Of course there is. There is in everything that we do, right? But at the same time, as a mom, I think everybody here, you know, can support moms and understand that we're here for our children. We're here to help other people, and much like Jody's saying, help the prisoners who are in jail, who are so many of them who are in there who have children, who are, or they're children of parents, for no reason other than smoking a natural, you know, a beautiful plant. So yeah, you can say yes. From my perspective, I've seen a lot of powerful things from the women, and you know, we do what we can.
Well, I would also say yes and no. In terms of looking at California, where you might see a lot of young hot things advertising medical cards on the beach, that's one angle that you can use. But we know that sex is an advertising of everything. Have you seen a beer commercial lately? Even clothing commercials. I mean, it's everywhere. But that doesn't mean all women have to fit into that mold. If you would like to be somebody who's taken more seriously, and for me personally, I will admit, I haven't worn anything that shows cleavage in 2 years. So I feel more exposed this weekend than ever in recent memory, but sex sells. And one of the first things I said when I started working for Mark, it was an interview that said, oh, you know, you're young and you're pretty and people might get the wrong idea. And I'm like, no, if they are going to look at me, then I'm going to take that to my advantage. If a pretty face can sell makeup, it can sell a message. So if they're going to look at it, then sure, go ahead, look at me and listen to what I have to say. And that's why I think women have a lot of power in their appearance. Again, that doesn't mean you have less power if you don't use your appearance more than your intellect. You can do whichever. Be on a radio show, never be seen, but be heard. Or you can be out on the street grabbing attention in some wonderful outfit reflecting either the Prohibition era, or even if you're in California and you want to get people in your dispensary, I guess wear some hot pants and bring people in. But to each their own, and as long as you're not stopping other people from expressing themselves the way they choose to do so, as long as they aren't hurting anyone else, then hey, feel free, rock the boat the way you like to, and again, to each their own. So let's use the power if we've got it, or use whichever power you want, but hey, if you think it's sexy, then listen too. That's what I always say.
Okay. So I've had the advantage of working in a lot of different cannabis magazines, from Cannabis Culture to all the way to a very beyond, not skunk, but an adult magazine geared towards cannabis culture as well. So, and everything in between, of course. And of course, I do write about sex. I write a sex and relationship advice column. But both being an activist and also as an editor of a cannabis magazine, one thing I can say is that most regular cannabis consumers are men. Most of the people who read cannabis magazines are men. Most of the guys that are going to come here and look at these products are guys. So on one hand, we have to remember our audience. It's not a 50-50 split. I hate to break it to you, no matter what magazine you are. And now, does that mean that we're going to automatically be sexist just because we know that our audience is predominantly men? Of course not. Is gratuitous sex appropriate? No, that's why it's called gratuitous, right? So, does sex sell? Of course it does. Is there a problem with the feminine form that automatically a beautiful woman is equated with what? A negative thing?
Yeah.
That's a negative thing?
Perpetuating a negative stereotype.
It could be perpetuating a negative stereotype, yes, if that's what's being done. But more often than not, I see a lot of people crying sexism, when all it is a beautiful woman. It's a picture of a beautiful woman holding a bong. How in that is that in itself a negative thing? I don't think so. If you're talking about a dispensary that is purporting to be geared towards a more clinical, therapeutic sort of crowd, and that you're saying that yes, we have doctors, and we are very medical, and then you have girls in bikinis outside with the cards, like Jody said. Well, that would be gratuitous, wouldn't it? That's the exact kind of thing that you don't want to do, and that perpetuates the negative stereotype. But if you do have, let's face it, down in the States, their medical is not all medical. It's geared towards everyone. There are places that are more geared towards the recreational user, and I think we all know that. And so, you know, if they already have that kind of attitude and they put that out there, well, whatever. But I think that we need to stop taking the negativity around automatically the feminine form and calling that sexist. What is sexist, and I think you pointed out at the beginning there, our world is sexist. Already, as a woman, I'm going to make, no matter what job I have, I'm going to make 22% less than a man in any industry. That's the average right now. So, is it sexist? Yeah, the world is sexist right now. Can we not be gratuitous? Can we get a message across? We use our beautiful bodies in all their forms to get our message across. Why not? You use everything you can. You use everything you feel comfortable doing, as long as you're not being negative about it. Please, you know, do it. Yeah, all the more power to you. Sure.
Woo. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the first three ladies. Last three ladies, we've just got about 2 minutes to wrap up, so if you just want to add anything
super fast, because my own thing is that it depends on whether the woman is in her power doing it. Because if you're hired to just pump some guy's product out there and wear hot pants and put that bong in your mouth, did you hit that bong? No, you didn't. But if I, or Mama, or Jody, or any of these girls decide to wear some sexy outfit and hit that bong to sell the message, for sure, I'm in my power. I've decided that. So no one can nail me if I did it. That's it. If you're in power, get it out there.
Kelly, if I may interrupt, Julia Rose, who was supposed to speak at 2, hasn't shown up, hasn't checked in, so I don't want you to feel rushed. By all means, take your time.
Thank you very much, Frank. Okay, so we'll just finish with Kelly and Loretta, and then, as I said, we encourage the conversations to continue over at our booth as well. So, ladies?
I'll be very quick. So I am agreeing with and I think said it best, that the world is sexist. But I also want to say that I think part of the Women's Alliance is about embracing the power of the feminine. And I think, you know, I'm a big proponent of that.
Of course it is, of course it has had to be. I think criminalization also makes things more hurtful in these ways, but also when you are a big consumer every day like me, you know that you can call boys bitches, and I do. And you can, you know, you see people's essence, like you get beyond the gender thing, and that's why we all have to become big consumers, bitches.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for all of you for coming to provide the conversation, your questions. That's awesome. Thank you very much for sticking around for the last hour to engage in this dialogue. Please continue to come and visit us. Please help us sell out our buttons. Our shirts too, by the way, are available. So if you know somebody that might like one of these lovely shirts, please also come and visit us at our booth. Thank you very much for all your time. Thank you to our panel speakers.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you to the Normal Women's Alliance. Again, as I mentioned, Julie Rose was scheduled for 2 p.m. She has not checked in yet, so it looks like our next speaker will be Dr. Courtney at 3 p.m.
I guess so. That's so funny. That was great. All right, Pod TV. That was the Normal Women's Alliance members up there. Cool panel. So now, what time is it here? Yeah, that was really great. 2 o'clock, huh? So what's going on out there in the chat, guys? I'm glad you guys are all, well, there's 55 people tuned in right now.
That was awesome.
Yeah, there you go. That was really great, too.
Cody's speech was amazing.
Yeah, that was great. That really had people lining up all over the place. Yeah. She can project. Hi, guys and ladies. Guys and girls.
Cody's going to sign the flag here. Why don't we
Oh, okay. Yeah, here.